So this is a great, great honor to have you here with us tonight, Hanna. And I can try and say the name in English, Hanna, right?
Hanna.
The native English speakers can say Hanna?
No.
So I'm very happy to have you here. Thank you, Michaela. Good evening. Great to see you here. Of course that you will be. So this talk tonight, we're going to do in English, even though Hanna grew up in Israel, and of course her name is telling us this secret. And she does speak some Hebrew, and she might surprise us. But I also know it from me, when you learn something in a certain language, it's much easier to teach it this way. So in order for us to receive fluent, beautiful explanation, I kind of ask her to feel free to speak English so we can understand everything. So I actually don't know much about Hanna, and for me this evening is kind of part of my own exploration of Tantra and traditional Tantra, but I do know that I'm going to let you introduce yourself in a minute, but I'm going to start with what I know, that Hanna is one of the most beautiful teachers of Tantra in the world. At least I really, really appreciate what you do, because you bring a lot of the traditional aspect into Tantra, and today in the world there is enough Neo Tantra, and there is nothing wrong with Neo Tantra. It's beautiful, but for me to find teachers, international teachers who bring traditional Tantra, also speaking about sexuality, but also speaking about traditional Tantra. So I know that you are a well-known, loved teacher in the world. So we are lucky in Israel that sometimes you come and teach here as well. And I know that you're living in England, right?
Yeah.
And that you are bringing this beautiful tradition of Kriya Yoga. And what I understand, your unique blend of Tantra and Neo-Tantra to help people to go through life with beautiful tools from these traditions. Was I close enough?
Absolutely perfect, spot on.
Yay. So if you would like to say a few more words about you that I didn't say, you're very welcome. And then I would really, really love to hear about your journey into Tantra. I heard that you have a very special journey into the world of Tantra, and we would love to hear how you came to know Tantra, and especially about this Tantra Kriya, of course, but now I'm going to listen, please.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Well, first of all, welcome everybody. Thank you for being here on the live conference and also watching it later on. So thank you for being here and making the time. And thank you, Naama, for what you bring to the world is commendable. Really, kol hakavod. It's beyond the beyond. Gate gate. I commend you. It really is phenomenal how you bring and celebrate everybody who you bring in to learn. So thank you. It's a great service to humanity, to human unity. So a little bit about me. My name is Hanna Katz. I was born Hanna Katz, and I was born in Israel. Then when I was age 5, I went to live in Canada. Then we returned to Israel, and at age 17, I left Israel and came to the UK for only half a year, but got stuck here. That was in 1981. So those of you with maths can work out that I'm actually right now 56 years young. Yes.
Okay, I'm just going to tell everybody, look what Tantra does to you. You can look beautiful like Hanna if you practice enough.
Thank you. It's my real gray hair. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, the practices are phenomenal. They are rejuvenating. So, you know, people are looking for the elixir of life, you know, the potions, they're looking, the anti-aging and all that. Actually, it's within us. And yoga, Tantra yoga, teaches us how to tap into the natural well, the fountain of youth, the fountain of life. Okay, so the elixir of life and rejuvenation, regeneration is within us. Okay. So yes, I was born in Israel. I left Israel a long time ago, and I love it. It's still, I regard it as my home, although I think in English, always have done so ever since childhood. Now, my journey actually started probably in previous lifetimes, but in this lifetime, we're going to talk about it. I was born with the perfect mark on my forehead. So I was branded at birth. On my books, I share that picture. And I was branded the Indian of the family at birth. And to my father's delight, he was searching into Buddhism, and karma helped him come to terms with the Holocaust experience that he's been through. So he was a teenager shipped to Auschwitz, and he survived that. Most of his family perished there. And so for him, after the Second World War, he was actually born a Kabbalist Jew in a place called Satmar in Hungary at the time. And it's in Transylvania, and now it belongs to Romania. And so he was a Hasidic Kabbalist Mukubal and from birth. And then he, after he was liberated from Auschwitz, he actually searched for karma, and in order to get a resolution without going into the hatred of humankind. So going to Israel or to Palestine was the only way for him. I was brought into the world and really for the purpose of healing the family. That was the expectation my sister had. My parents both survived the Holocaust. And of course, when I grew up as a little child, the first books that I looked through were my father's books about Varanasi, or it wasn't Varanasi at the time, but the burning ghats of burning the corpses. That was the pictures that I grew up with, and Kali and all these icons. That's the first pictures that I recall. Of course, I had other recollections of memories that are very strange to the ordinary child. So I was a very peculiar child, but I was gifted the freedom to be and explore, and it was great. I started being initiated at age into the practices properly at age 12 and a half. That was the day that I was initiated into it. Age 13 and a half, I was initiated into the sexual practices. And since then, you know, actually before that, the energies were there. There were things that I didn't know, but later on in life, when I had several initiations, I then understood what they were. So, for instance, I had experiences of the Maitreya figures when I was very, very young. But that was something that wasn't in the Israeli Jewish culture to explain. Later on, I discovered that, and I knew that was what it was. So yeah, so my journey has been, I've been very privileged.
Wow. So actually, what was your first initiation?
My first initiation was actually into what is called nowadays levitation.
Wow.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Yes. It did freak my mother and my sister. My sister is older than me by 11 years, and my mother and my sister could not understand. They could not explain when at a very young age, even before I could walk, they would put me somewhere, leave the room, come back, and they would find me 5 meters away. You know, I just have memories of being carried by this Maitreya figure. So that was a bit of a woo-woo.
Wait a minute, maybe I missed something. That was like as a baby?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so as a baby, the energies already were carrying you.
That's right. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And yeah, it is incredible. Many experiences. Some of them freaked my mother out even more when I was a young child, and I could see at a wedding, I could see the death of the person who was getting married.
Wow.
And I shared that with my mother, and she could not cope with it. And then half a year later, it happened. So that was difficult to live with. Things like that were challenging.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just the visions, when they come, I have no control over them.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
these initiations were like astral initiations, right?
Sorry, they were what?
Because I heard about the first initiation, and then you said that you had your first sexual initiation at the age of 13, right?
Yes.
Understand, right? And this.
Yeah,
Sorry.
That was a physical initiation.
And that was okay. So 13 was a physical initiation, and as a baby, an astral initiation.
Yeah.
And at 13, it was already part of a lineage of teaching.
Yeah. So okay. Babaji Nagaraj, whom is actually the picture above, was in my life throughout. That Christ-like Indian guru. So that was, I think at age 2.5, I used to have, my favorite game was to pretend to be Buddha. And my sister always used to, when she wanted to snog her boyfriend, she used to send me, like, go and play Buddha. And I would be very happy just playing, pretending. You know, it was great. Like a little gremlin sitting in meditation.
Wow. I just want to explain something to the audience. You know, for me and you, it's really, really obvious. Astral guru, initiation, non-astral initiation. Maybe some people don't really understand what we're talking about. So I'm just going to say a few words. And if you want to comment, please do so as well. In Tantra, not only in Tantra, but it's very, very common in Tantra, people have astral gurus. It means that they have teachers and gurus which are not in the physical body. What Hanna was describing here, I also know from my guru. For example, my guru also his main guru is an astral guru that doesn't meet in the physical body. He speaks with him and receive instructions only in the astral body. And people in a certain level, they can really have this communication. And also what you said about the baby, I also know that these things happens in my ashram as well. When the child of my guru was very little, Guru Ma told me that like the energies, you know, they felt the baby is too hot. He was sweating. So they took out the hat of the baby and they put it aside. And then they woke up and they're like, did you take off the hat? No, did you take off the hat? And then the energies told Guruji that, sorry, master, he was very hot. We had to take off the hat because he was sweating. So this is, I know it sounds maybe strange to some of us, but this is reality for traditional Tantra, and there is nothing strange about that for us.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so many incidents happened like that. You know, and what was fascinating was that at age 9, 10, I used to have a recurring experience as if though my body, and now we're talking about age 10, that's 46 years ago, you know, eons ago. I used to have a sensation, like a lucid dreaming, being very aware, as if though my body, my skin was a diving suit, and just unzipping it and then just kind of floating away, or being a beam of light that dissipates. And then later on, 40 something years later, I discovered that what it is, it's one of the basic Kabbalistic teachings, you know. So the heritage, it's beautiful. And the thing is with Babaji Nagaraj, whom gave instructions, he's a 2,223 years old being, to be precise. He was born on the 30th of November, 203 before Christ. And apparently the Christ went to India to meet with Babaji Nagaraj, and they're at one with the Christ. So what was interesting is that the Babaji energy has always been guiding me. And the teachings that I had, that later on, 30 years later or 25 years on later, I was officially initiated by them, by, you know, through the lineage. So I was at one. And the thing is, I was with Rudra, I was being initiated with Rudra from America. Here in London, there were about 200 people in the hall, and we were sitting in meditation. That was into the white Kriya yoga. So the white Kriya yoga is the ascetic practices. And I was sitting in meditation. I loved it. I mean, like sometimes we would sit with our arms like that for an hour, just with one mantra, you know, and then we would do something else with the hands for another hour. It would be like 8 hours like that. So it's very much the white Kriya yoga is a path of endurance. And Rudra was initiating us into the white Kriya yoga practices. And then I was sitting in meditation, and at the end, I just had a sense that Babaji, of course, I've been working with Babaji before, but Babaji came and just sat in me as if though my body was that skin, that diving suit. And I was unable to move. It felt so profound. I was unable to move. And later, when everybody left, Rudraji came to me, and he said, I saw that. I saw Babaji walk into you. Wow. And that was a huge confirmation, you know. So there's a lot of things. Whenever I would stray off the path, I would get through the physical body, you know, things. If, for instance, I had to give a message to some people about something, and I decided I'm not going to because they may not like me, but then I would have, as if though it's a stabbing in the pancreas or, you know, in the spleen, so that I'd have to do that. I'd have to follow the path of truth. And Tantra Kriya Yoga is the path of commitment. It's the commitment to the path, commitment to yourself, commitment to the truth, the universal truth, for the benefit of all. The Kriya means action, or in fact, it means complete action, the completion of through action. It also means breaking through blockages. It also means practices, and Tantra means practices. So Tantra really is the mother, and yoga is the son. Tantra is the umbrella that all yoga emanates from. So, and that was the person who brought the Bihar School of Yoga, the founder of the Bihar School of Yoga, he said that. So,
I love it.
Yeah. Tantra is the mother, yoga is the son.
Yeah. Many times, many times I speak about the connection of Tantra and yoga, and for some people, they're separate, but we cannot separate them.
Nothing is separate here.
Yeah.
Not even us, not even human beings. If we think about it, human beings impact others, even though we are across the world, across the globe. You know, so it's so important that we live by what we preach, and that the more people we touch, the more benefit for all humanity. We have to shift human unity right now. That's my personal, yeah.
We are being forced to that. We have to unite.
Yeah.
Until we will come with, beratzon.
Yeah.
willingly.
With the will. Yeah. The thing is that if we think that we are islands to each other, you know, if we really believe that we are individuals, we are individuated in the separate bodies, but actually if we believe the illusion of individual, then it's as if though there's two of us on an island, and if one person has the fruit and the books and the everything, and the other person is being nice to them, they'll share. But if the other person is being rude to them, they will not share. So ultimately, when we are nasty to another person, we are nasty to ourselves.
Yeah.
It works on individual level and on global levels.
Yeah. Would you like to tell us more about the Tantra Kriya Yoga? I start writing questions, but this question is for later. I would love to hear more about this path that you're actually teaching and practicing. And also, Babaji Nagaraj, is he still alive? He's still teaching?
He's still teaching. He is an ascended master. So he is a 2,223 years young master. There has been sightings of him. There are many, many Babajis in India. They're just, Baba is a term of respect, and then Ji is another term of higher respect. So many, many teachers call themselves Babaji. But Babaji Nagaraj, the one from the Kriya Yoga path, the one that looks like that.
Okay. When you say Kriya Yoga, you mean also the Yogananda and
that's
this
right.
Kriya Yoga?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you do this practice.
So yes.
That's an amazing practice.
Yeah. So the Kriya Yoga practices, or the 18 siddhas, or they are very firmly in society. They're very grounded, rooted in culture now, and accepted. The Tantra Kriya Yoga is the only strand, or that not on the inner circle, but we actually teach about the raw life force energy, the Kundalini energy, and how to harness it. So for instance, in the white Kriya Yoga, we used to breathe mainly to the upper diaphragm, so that we don't activate by accident the Kundalini energy, the raw sexual energy. Most of the practices are breathing through the nose. Again, the nose is connected to the second chakra and to the sexual energy, to the genitals, the base chakra. And breathing through the nose allows us to be in control of the sexual energy. Breathing through the mouth actually opens it. In the Kriya Yoga, it's very important to go through the Ida and Pingala and activate the different channels of the feminine and masculine aspects. And in the Tantra Kriya Yoga, we go straight to the Shushumna, that central channel, like a chimney sweep from the crown to the base chakra. Okay? But what we do in the Tantra Kriya Yoga is we activate the third eye. So it's really important to open the third eye. Otherwise, when you release Kundalini energy, you're actually unleashing the dragon from within you. And when you unleash the dragon, it goes out. And it can be like unleashing a tornado, having a contraption to create tornadoes and unleash them onto the world. But if you direct the tornado or that power, you can actually plow fields. You can harness that powerful energy to do good in the world rather than destruction. So Shakti energy, Shakti Kundalini released is very powerful. It's the power of creation and the power of destruction. So we need to activate the awareness to bring direction, to make sure that we are in control and we master our own emotions. And that's really paramount, because releasing Kundalini energy, and doing practices of yogic practices, they can send people into psychosis. There's the Tai Chi psychosis, there's yoga psychosis. people who do too much and they don't know how to actually, and that's why the guru, the teacher, is really important, because they can see on you what you can't see on yourself. Yeah. So they can actually also hear where you're at and direct you in the right channel, give you the right practices, and be able to reflect to you, you know, where you're at in your evolution. Now, in India, there's a strong relationship between a guru and disciples. But in the West, people feel that they can go, most of them, in a kind of new age exploration. They go into these spiritual supermarkets. They go into a little workshop here and there and a little bit, but they don't really carry on one practice as a practice.
Or willing to take a guru.
A guru is only a person who shed lights on things, and that they actually gone through the teachings, and that they're grounded in reality, and they can function in the world. So the guru or a shamanic master, they can function in the world, where a schizophrenic or, you know, someone who's gone psychotic, they might display similar behavior, but they can't function in the world.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the difference. And the guru shed light so that you're able to walk, and they show you different, you know, sites that you can enter. So I always say that I'm a kind of spiritual tourist guide.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up to the people to enter. But the same with psychotherapists, they shed light on things, on the path. It's just that Tantra Kriya yoga is breaking through blockages. And if you do the practices, it can happen just like that, in the blink of an eye.
So what you're actually saying is that Tantra Kriya yoga, it's a path of purification, as Tantra is. So it's like double purification, since Tantra is purification. And also, if I understand right, you say that Tantra Kriya yoga is a bit different from the Kriya yoga. So like if people now go to Rishikesh and they meet Shankarananda, it's not what you're talking about, right? It's different.
That's right. So if they're going to Rishikesh and they're doing the Kriya yoga, they will learn the ascetic practices. So they might learn the mantra Hamiham Brahmham, which means one we are, God we are. Hamiham Brahmham. They do it in a certain way, the ascetic way, and it's great and it's wonderful and it's individual practices. The Tantra Kriya yoga is also enabling people to work with the couples, with a love partner. And yes, you can get through the Kriya, traditional white Kriya yoga. You could get these once you've gone into the inner circles and once you've gone on to the, you know, the inner sanctums. There are sexual practices, but they do not reveal that easily. And Tantra Kriya yoga is really just a phenomenal practice that uses every aspect of our life, from washing the dishes to defecating to, you know, being with a partner. And it also is about every aspect of our human expression can be a doorway into the enlightenment, into the self-realization, self-actualization.
So actually the practices of Tantra Kriya yoga will be both yogic practices, breathing exercises, meditations, alone and in couples, right? It's like there will be a personal purification and then couple purification.
Yeah, absolutely. So for instance, the Methuna ritual, which is one of the highest you know, union ritual, it takes 10 days to do the ritual of preparation. So the first 3 days there's a preparation of that, the next 3 days, you know, and people don't really like to dedicate that time anymore, you know, even just going out to do the shopping and preparation of the certain food. People want everything in a sound bite right here, right now, do it to me kind of thing. They want to be as if though like on a roller coaster of the train roller coaster, you know,
Yeah.
on a on a fanfare, and they just want to be observing it in 3D rather than actually doing the work. You know, they want things to happen. It's like becoming the observer and just watching it on the TV happening as if though they're, but actually cultivating the witness consciousness enables you to go through every aspect of life without having the drama that is, you know, human beings are so attached to.
Yeah.
So there's a paradox there, you know, and Tantra is all about paradoxes. We bring the contradictory aspects of ourselves, and it's that inner marriage.
That's really, really fascinating. And I want to ask, is that okay that I'm asking? Normally I let people speak, but I feel like I want to ask so much, so many things. When I hear you, I really hear the explanation of what I teach as left-hand Tantra, and at least very similar. I don't know if you're also doing yantra, also building yantras and yagnas.
Of course.
Okay, I don't know. That's why I'm asking. And always when I explain about right hand and left hand, I speak about the purification that are needed to be done in the left hand Tantra, as if people are working in the right hand Tantra. So they do the yagnas, they do the kriyas, they do the mantras and the yantras, yoga, yam niyam. And then they add into it in the left hand Tantra also the Panchamakra. The thing is that the way I learned about it, and I'm really, really curious to hear about this lineage, because it sounds also more nagish. How do I say nagish in English?
Approachable.
Yeah, there is a better
accessible
word. Accessible. Yeah, accessible. Thank you. It sounds much more accessible, this left-hand Tantra, from what I know, because my guru is telling that if you want to learn left-hand Tantra, people need to, like, there is a guru and you have to come to the guru when you're still, no?
Say it in Hebrew.
I'll find the word. Before you ever had sex, yeah? So you're still virgin.
Yeah.
So you come to the guru, still virgin, a couple that both of them are virgins. They have to go through the entire process, and only then they can go into the sexual practices. And each time the guru can accept only one couple, which makes it very, very inaccessible, of course. And also Guruji, my Guruji says that there are only few masters left like that. And then I hear your explanation and say, wow, maybe there is also a lineage here that is more accessible. And I would love to hear more about this lineage and how people can reach these practices. And if what I explained now sounds similar to what actually is in this lineage.
Yeah. So yes, what you said is correct. And yes, we do use yantras are really important. You know, creating the yantras, whether it's the Sri Yantra or more basic, is really, really important. But ultimately, our body or the body of the beloved is the ultimate yantra. So when we're meditating on, say, the Sri Yantra, the many triangles, the 9 triangles, and there's a dot in the middle, that dot is what they actually put on the third eye. And if you can imagine, there's in the Paratam sound healing that I teach, there's triangles that we make, and in the center. So we actually use the whole body as the Sri Yantra, okay? And you meditate upon it. So it's an object, it's sacred geometry that you meditate upon, but also ultimately we need to meditate upon our image or the image of the beloved. So yes, yantras are important. okay, and creating the fire, the Agnihotra, and all these are really, really important. The rituals are really important. There is no tantra without ritual. There is no tantra without puja. There is no tantra without mantra. There is no tantra without yantra. So if you take any one of those out, it's neo tantra, and that's okay. That's accessible. That's what in the West is great. And the Osho lineage teaches the neo tantra, which is great. The mantras are really, really important. And I've been using mantras ever since I was a child. Ever since I was able to vocalize, mantras were really, really important. Sometimes I would channel mantras, but really the mantra, ultimate mantra, is your own name. You on some level, you chose that name as a soul. If you believe in souls, you chose that name, and the name has a meaning or has a reverberation. It has a quality of resonance that impacts. So for me, whatever my name, I hated my name as a child. I used to French it. My mother was French, and I just used to call myself Anna because I hated the name Hanna. Now I love it. I get the importance of what it means. Hanna, his park just there, he could see everything. And it also means grace. So there's it's the duty of what it is mine to give, to gift. Okay, so that is ultimately the mantra, is our name. Also, there's global mantras. For instance, the sound that our blood makes in the body when you do the yoni mudra, for instance, when you put your thumbs in the ears and you do the yoni mudra like that. These are practices, yogic practices. You will hear then, it will activate the Godheads within you, within your skull, in the cave of Brahma, which is within us, but also it will allow you to hear life, the sound of life washing through you. And that is the Soham, the Hamso, Soham, Hamso, or the Hamsa, as you say in Hebrew. And the Hamsa is in Hebrew, in Arabic, and also in Sanskrit. The Soham, it means graceful swan. Okay, it means I am that I am. So the practices, and I love it, how Hebrew and Sanskrit, they're both sacred languages, and how they connect and resonate. For instance, a righteous woman or initiator woman in Tantra, in Sanskrit, is called sadhika.
Wow. This is beautiful. I never thought about this.
Yeah.
Sadhik, sadhaka.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Love this.
Yeah. The demand for teachings, when people go to the guru and they call it a darshan. The ceremony of marriage ceremony is called in Sanskrit hahatuna.
Wow.
It's just phenomenal. I was teaching my sister a mantra in Sanskrit for changing karma that goes like this from my lineage. It goes, Tirani Lakantam. Tyranny Lakantam.
Oh. Wow.
But I've been chanting it for years and years and years, and it took, my sister just got it straight away. I just have so many moments, and Om Ahadi Om, Om Ahadi Om. It's the Ahadi, it means one, Ahadi, Echad, Wachad.
It's amazing.
It really is amazing.
I've never done these connections, and I think that these connections are amazing. And it brings me up to another point I wanted to ask you to speak about. And also, it's a good time to tell everybody, if you have questions, please write them so we can bring them up soon. You mentioned a few times about the Hebrew language, about Kabbalah. My guru always say that Tantra, we can find Tantra in different traditions. We have Jewish Tantra, we have Muslim Tantra, and actually I'm doing some practice now that I call it Jewish Tantra. Also with mantras and a special way to use the mantras and visualization. So I really feel like it's a Tantra. And I wonder, like, how do you see this combination of Tantra and Judaism, especially from the point of view that so many people feel that Tantra is kind of Avodah Zarah. And I want to say this in English for the English speaker. How do you say Avodah Zarah in English?
Worship.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's worshipping other gods and deities.
Okay, so idol worshipping. This is the hard word, I know. So many people look at it as idol worshipping. I know it's not, you know it's not. I wonder, how do you feel and how do you combine this? Because I hear you speaking, you're also very connected to the Jewish tradition.
Yeah.
And you have this, you know, how to unite things. I know how I deal with it, but I really, really would love to hear you as well.
Great, great. Okay, so thank you. That is excellent. So very, very quickly, I'll say that Babaji Nagaraj asked I think it was Lahiri Mahasaya. He asked Lahiri Mahasaya in the 18th century. He asked him to, he was actually in body meeting him, just like, you know, some people had meetings with him. He asked to write a book about the connection between the Bible and the Upanishads.
What?
Yes, yeah. And so, you know, the Vedas, the spiritual teachings and the Bible, there is a connection. And actually, it gives me goosebumps. Babaji Nagaraj requested from the disciple of Lahiri, requested to write the book about the connection between the Upanishads and the Bible. It's number one. Then we've got
book.
Pardon?
Where can people find this book?
Google it. I'm sure you can find anything on Amazon nowadays or eBay. I found lots of books in Indian stores when I visited India, but yeah. So back to the Kabbalah. Tantra predates all religions. It's about the study of human being or the divine design. So ontology is a study of human beings, human behavior and human beings. But the truth is that we are of spiritual aspiration, and we're also human animal. We're human animal and we're human divine. And that meeting place is within us. The Kabbalah is the Jewish Tantra. Sufism predates Islam. They had to join the Islam in order to survive the massacres. Okay, the Tantra that is prevalent in the world at the moment is the yoga. That's accepted because the British that went to India and they brought back the yogas to the West. It was imperialistic Britain. So they couldn't cope with raw sexual energy. Therefore, they allowed anything that, you know, if you can contort your leg behind your ears, that was okay. but anything to do with sexual energy was not okay. So Alistair Crawley, he was a judge, and in India, he was a British judge, and then he became a tantric, practicing Tantra and exploring Tantra. There's a lot about that. In the West, in the Western world, in Europe, alchemy is the European Tantra. Alchemy, there's a place outside of Prague, a building outside of Prague. It has the basement where they stoke up the fire. And then you go, there's the 7 different levels, different floors. And of course, there's skulls there and everything. They used to do all the exploration. And at the top, there's an observatory for the stars. The 7th chakra. It's just phenomenal. And it was a code. The code was, how do we take raw metal and transform it into gold? But actually, that is the code to how to take raw sexual energy and transmute it, and then into a refined expression of love.
Wow.
So that's just on the tip of that. Now in Kabbalah, the Shekhinah, the Shekinah, the one that dwells within her. It's about us. We light the candles. We bring in the divine into us. We cover our eyes, and then we look. The Shekhinah looks through the eyes of us. We're nothing but a masicha. We're nothing but a stage name for the divine. We are just a face mask. Okay, so we're looking. The divine needs us to experience itself, because the one cannot experience itself. So it needs the illusion of the duality in order to return back into the knowledge that, we are one, always have been, always will be. And so that brings me back into worshiping idol gods, okay, that nonsensical thing. I actually posed that to a rabbinit, to a woman, a righteous woman, to a rabbinit. Recently, in fact, because I read Tehillim, we used to go before the Corona to Tehillim groups every week and read Tehillim and send prayers to people. And I do that regularly. We still do. And I asked her, what about Ayurveda and the Tantras and the color puncture and all this, that come from India and China? And she said, you know what? It all comes from Abraham. Everything comes from Abraham, because he sent his shefachot. Yeah, he sent his maids to go and deliver the words and the different teachings to all corners of the known, universe at the time.
Wow.
So when I said specifically about, Ayurveda and color puncture and, all this, she said, it's all goes back down to Abraham. So they actually accept that. And Reiki, they totally accept that. Now I'm talking about highly ultra religious people here in the UK that I'm associated with. Okay. Somehow they're more accepting of me. I don't know why. Of course, I cover myself, I cover my arms, I respect their practices. They listen when I teach and share. They really get it. And I have a lot of clients from the ultra-Orthodox Jewish community here.
I can imagine like this moment when Abraham sent his maids, and like us, some of the maids were more bhakti style, and some of them liked pujas, and some of them liked more like, the gyanis sitting and just meditating, and some really doing prayers, and then it's like depends on who is the maid and what she likes. Maybe the message was sent to the world in this way.
Yeah.
That's my imagination. Of course, I don't know if it's real.
Well, you do know certain things. When you plug in, when you let go, when we let go of our identities, of our ego striving, and we're there with what would be for the benefit of all human unity. And we ask the question, not for our own sake, but for human unity, or for really truly understanding. We actually get the messages, we can hear the truth, and we know things. For instance, you know things about your grandmother that your mother never spoke to you about. You would know that because you were physically inside of your grandmother. You were an egg inside the fetus of your mother when she was inside the grandmother. Like that.
Yeah, that's also beautiful. Wow. Wow, I'm gonna ask you a few more questions because we are almost at the end of our conversation. And so I want to remind everybody, if you have questions, some people write, wow, they are really loving what you're saying, their hearts and so on. You can see this later. And if you want to ask things, that's the time. מי שרוצה לשאול שאלות, מוזמנים לעשות את זה עכשיו, בעברית, we can write in English, both are fine. And I'll start with some questions, and then we can see if more questions are coming. I think people are really fascinated, same way as I am.
Yeah.
So when someone wants to join this practice, they hear about your story and they say, wow, I want to join. So how can they do this? And also, how can they learn with you or with other teachers from this lineage? And also, I guess that this question will come about the sexual practices of this lineage. Some people are interested only in the sexual practices, and they might ask, hey, can we join on with that? So if you can tell us a little bit more.
Okay, so how to join? That's a good question. So now the world has kind of become even smaller or closer. So we've got Zoom, and we can do things on Zoom. And so I teach globally. In fact, just before the corona, when the corona just emerged, I was on my way to Australia to teach in Australia. So I didn't go. Instead, I actually went to Israel to support a family member that was going through some health issues. And so I do come to Israel. I did come to Israel. There are teachers in Israel like Or and Gal and Rui Ratzon that they teach my teachings as well. Ben and Efrat, they learned as well, so they know some of the practices. They teach that as well. There are a lot of my students all over the world that teach. You know, I brought the cobra breath, the cosmic cobra breath, to Europe first. So, you know, it's I was initiated first by Bodhi Avinasha, but then I was corrected by Bodhi Teja and Bodhi Ambar. And then later I was initiated directly by Grandmaster Sunyata Saraswati, who is an amazing master. He's now ascended. So it's, I hold a lineage. You could come to me, but actually, ultimately, you find the teacher that is right for you. The one you gravitate to is the one for you at this journey. You may not like certain things. They might challenge you. The whole point of a teacher is to actually challenge you and help you grow and ascend to higher realms, you know, with your awareness. So it really is about the person that you're attracted to, the person who comes to you. It reflects to you what levels, where you're at. So of course, people can find me on mainly through my website, and I do run workshops. I do run workshops for couples. Love partners, it's absolutely phenomenal. I run workshops for singles. I do private individual, you know, I most of my days, private individuals that I work with. And yeah, it's really rewarding to see people transcend, you know, and they go beyond their personality, beyond their act attack of personality and dramas of their emotional upheaval, and they transcend beyond that, and they go into the realm of expansiveness and inclusiveness and acceptance.
Nice. So I also say that I will say that just above this video, for those of you who are watching it in Facebook, there is the link for the website of Hanna, so you can really connect with her and find the teachings and join them. And I definitely got a lot of appetite to dive in a little bit and find a bit more about this path. And I'm going to read some questions, all right?
Okay, yeah.
So first of all, Roy Ratzon is saying thank you, Hanna, and Orgal also, she said thank you. And then Shirley is asking, I'm going to read this in Hebrew and then English, למה יש יותר חשיבות לאפשר הובלה בחיבור התפתחות לידיעה הפנימית או לטכניקות באימון? למה יש יותר חשיבות לאפשר הובלה בחיבור התפתחות לידיעה הפנימית או לטכניקות באימון? So I think I understand what she means. Let's see. Shirley, I'm going to try and say what your questions, and if I got it wrong, please correct me. So I think what she's asking is that what is more important in our evolution, the inner knowing or the techniques and practice? This is a really great question.
That is a great question. It really is depending on your emphasis. If it was myself, I would say the self-awareness, knowing thyself. That's really important. But the techniques will not guarantee that. The techniques are just there to keep the mind from its normal chatter. You can sit in meditation for years and years and not have any inclination about exploring yourself or getting further. And then you might have phenomenal revelations and enlightenment experiences while washing big, huge pots of meals in a restaurant. Like, you know, a great teacher called Ken Wilber. He had his enlightenment experiences while washing pots in a restaurant. So I would say, for me, the emphasis would be about self-knowledge, self-exploration, know thyself, and self-evolution. Because once you evolve yourself, everyone around you will evolve as well.
That's beautiful. I would like also to add, in the previous Guru Purnima, we just had Guru Purnima just I think a week or two ago, which is the day of the Guru. And I wrote a post about 3 different gurus that my guru is speaking about, and which connects with this question. There is the outer guru, the ones who give initiations, the one who really kind of like put you in the path and help you not to go astray. There is the gurus that you meet in daily life, like the shopkeeper, your friends, your mother, your daughters, people who teach you different things. And there is the inner guru. And it's like all the outer gurus are finally bringing us into the inner guru. So yeah.
Let me add something. So there's a great practice. If you take your finger and you take some saliva, and you put it on your third eye and stroke it up. In the Hindu tradition or the aesthetic traditions, it's forbidden to do that, to put saliva on the third eye and above. And in Tantra Kriya Yoga, we break through blockages and we challenge our personal taboos, how we got them and why we got them. And And doing that, the saliva has electromagnetic kind of resonance, vibration, and it activates. So here, the third eye, when you activate your third eye and you become aware of it with the cobra breath and other practices, it will sink down and it will open up in the middle of your forehead, your fourth eye, and that inner guru. That is the point of that inner knowing. Okay, and down below the heart chakra, traditionally in, you know, you could see the Kabbalah has got 10 Sefirot, and from Keter to Malchut, and it goes, the Zimzumim, the energy goes through and out on planet Earth through the base chakra Malchut. But in the heart is the center chakra. So traditionally in Hindu, you've got the traditional 7 chakras from the crown to the base chakra. There are 122 other chakras, and there's many, many more. But the heart chakra is the center. But just below there, there's the Harit. And the Harit is the secret chakra. In fact, the heart, the word heart, comes from the Harit. A lot of words in English are from the Hindu language. You know, it's fascinating, absolutely fascinating. So the Harit, and it's often depicted of an empty seat under the Bodhi tree, where the enlightenment, awakened ones, the Bodhi tree. And when you see the guru sitting in there, you know the guru is in. So you activate your own inner guru.
I really love these poetic explanations. Wow. So I see there are no more questions for now. Only Karen is saying, great teachings, love this collaboration of two dedicated, loving women. Thank you for the inspiration. Thank you, Karen. Karen, she's in my TTC. She's wonderful Sadak herself. So we're gonna finish this amazing talk. I'm really, really happy, and I have enjoyed every moment of this talk. Now I'm left with many more questions and a lot of sakranut, curiosity.
Yeah. So do post, you know, things. I haven't been visiting Facebook for a while. I should really venture out there again, but yeah, do post and send me, and I'll post something. Well, I want to share with you something very simple. There's 2 things that are really important, as well as we spoke about mantras. Mantras are really important, and your name is the ultimate mantra. But if you think about Om Ahadi Om, which means I am at one with all that is. Om Ahadi Om, I'm at one with all that is. Or Hamiham Brahmham, one we are, God we are. Okay, that's really important. So do a mantra. Today is a especially auspicious day. You know, there's shifts with the planetary, whatever, Cancer, whatever. So mantra, sound is really important. Sound broke the walls of Jericho. Sound can break any blockages that we have within ourselves. Sound can heal the world. What we say is really, really important. We can create or destroy. You know the words in the magic words of abracadabra. Yeah? If you write it in Hebrew, abracadabra, and you read it in modern Hebrew, because it's Aramaic, and all over the world it's used as the magic words, spells. If you read it in Hebrew, it's Evra ke'adabera. I shall create as I shall speak. So the words that we speak are really potent, and what we speak, the more we complain, we create more of that which we complain. the more we appraise someone, the more we create them, the more people will create us. So it's like a boomerang. So that's really important, the sound. And secondly, the gestures, the mudras. Mudras are really important. They are sacred language of the gods through the body, and this mudra is the healing mudra. Okay, so you take the ring, the wedding ring finger, and you just push it down in, and that's the healing mudra. Okay, and you can just sit in meditation like that. So that's a healing mudra. The more you heal yourself, the more you heal the world.
So you suggest that people will sit with this mudra during meditation, right?
Yeah.
For healing.
Of course, if you want to activate it more, clench the pelvic floor muscles, put the root, the mula band, okay, the root lock, because that means that the energy doesn't leak out, it actually brings up, and you can actually take that energy and bring it up. You can activate your third eye like that, and just focus. When you close your eyes in meditation, you focus on the inside of your third eye. Okay, that will activate the serotonins. It's the pineal gland, like that.
Yeah, it's really
There's
easy
so
when you
much.
say that. It feels like you say it and like, yeah, of course I can feel it with you. Now we have to practice.
Shaktipat, you got it.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Okay. Thank you, each and every one of you, and thank you, Naama. You are incredible inspiration. What you do for the world is just commendable, really. I honor you. I thank you. It's been a great privilege.
Thank you. And good night, everybody.